Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Babel on Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Nun Zayin of Masechta Shabbis. New perek, a perek of Bameh Isha Yotza, right? Another one of these Bameh prakim. So, here we go. So, I guess just like the previous perek, there aren't like really these like big juicy kind of sugyas to really dive into, but I'll just do like a quick overview. Like we're talking about going out with wool and linen and threads, and going to the mikveh kind of comes up in the context of these wool and linen threads, and there isn't like really whatever. I'm not going to go into too much detail in advance just because it's just going to be so much detail. So let's just, how about this? We jump in afterwards, we could kind of sum it up a little bit. So, but I guess just similar to like the previous perek was Bameh Behema Yotza, going out to Rosh Hashanah with different things. Is it considered a adornment? If it's an adornment, you would be able to go out with it, like would, as in like yes. And if it's a burden, then you would not be able to go out with it. And the interesting thing about this Mishnah is that these are things that actually would be considered a tachshit. They would be considered a adornment, right? And yet, the Chacham made a gzeira not to go out with them because we're concerned that maybe you will take them off to show it to your friend, and you'll end up carrying it in Rosh Hashanah. Bameh isha yotza v'ma ena yotza. So with what can a woman go out to Rosh Hashanah, and with what could a woman not go out to Rosh Hashanah? Lo seitze isha lo b'chutei tzemer v'lo b'chutei pishtam v'lo b'tzuos shebarosha. So a woman should not go out to Rosh Hashanah with threads of wool, with threads of linen, or any other kinds of straps that are on her head. Okay, so these linen, wool, and strappy kind of things, we're talking about on her head to tie her hair. She shouldn't go out with these things tied to her hair. Okay, and she also shouldn't dip in the mikveh wearing these things on her head until she loosens them up so that the water can get between her hair and these items, so that there will not be a chatzitza, something in the middle. Oh gosh, how do you say chatzitza? Something blocking, an impediment. A chatzitza. V'lo b'totefes, v'lo b'sarvitin. She should not go out with totefes. The Gemara is going to explain what a totefes is, or a sarvitin. The Gemara is going to explain what a sarvitin is. Bizman she'enan tfurim, when they are not sewed on. If they are sewed on, then you don't have to worry about taking them off, and we'll get to that in the Gemara. V'lo b'chavul, and not with a kavul l'Rosh Hashanah. Okay, fine, but it would be acceptable in Rosh Hashanah Seder. V'lo b'ir shel zav, not with some kind of a garment that you would like draw like a picture of a city on it, and it would look really fancy, I guess. V'lo b'katla, okay, and we can explain what that is, a katla. V'lo b'nizamim, not with nose rings. V'lo b'tabas, she'ena le'achosam. She shouldn't go out with a ring that does not have a seal on it. I guess if it has a seal on it, then it would be okay. V'lo b'machat, she'ena nekuva, and not with a needle that does not have a hole in it, i.e. like a safety pin. Now, in any of these cases, if she did go out to Rosh Hashanah with them, she would not be chayeves a korban chatas, because after all, they are considered an adornment, a tachshit. The only reason why she shouldn't go to Rosh Hashanah is because we're concerned that maybe she's going to remove this item to show to her friend, and then she will carry it for Amos in Rosh Hashanah. Okay, that was a bunch of details, right? That was like a bunch of random stuff. Let's dive into the Gemara to maybe find a little bit more info over here. So Tefillah man d'char shma. So the first thing the Gemara wants to know is, who said anything about mikvahs? We're talking about, can you take stuff out to Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos? Why are we talking about v'lo sitbo bain ad shetarafim, and don't go to the mikvah and these things until you loosen them up? Who said anything about a mikvah? So Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Amar Rabba bar Avua, Matam ka Amar. So it says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak and then Rabba bar Avua that the Mishnah is mentioning the mikvah in order to explain how come a woman should not go out to Rosh Hashanah with these, let's say, like woolen threads in her hair. And the answer is, is matam lo seitze isha lo b'chutei tzemer v'lo b'chutei pishtan. How come a woman should not go out to Rosh Hashanah with threads of wool or threads of linen in her hair? Because the Chacham said that during the week, meaning in general, if a woman is going to the mikveh and she has these woolen threads or these linen threads in her hair, so she would have to loosen them up so that water can get between the threads and her hair, and it wouldn't be a chatzitza. And since during the week, i.e. in general, she would have to first loosen up these threads before going to the mikveh, so b'Shabbis lo seitze, so on Shabbos she should not go out to Rosh Hashanah with these things in her hair, because maybe she will have to go to the mikveh. I don't know, maybe she's a nida and she's no longer a nida, and now she's going to go to the mikveh, and it's Shabbos, and what's going to happen is Visharya lehu va'asi la'asoyinu talaramas b'shusarabim, and what's going to end up happening is she's going to have these threads in her hair, and she's going to remove the threads, I guess not simply loosen them, but actually remove them, and she might then carry them 4 amos in Rishus Harabim to go to the mikveh, and that will be a problem. And therefore, because out of concern that she may end up having to go to the mikveh, we don't want her to go out with these threads that if she were to have to go to the mikveh, she would have to loosen them, which could lead her to carry them 4 amos in Rishus Harabim. Okay. Ba'amina Rav Kahana Mirav. So now Rav Kahana, he asked a question from Rav. Teichi Chalilta, alright? So these Teichi Chalilta seems to be some kind of woven thing that they would put in their hair. I don't know, maybe, unclear. I don't know. I looked at it both in the Safari and the Art Scroll. I don't know, maybe the Koran has like a better kind of answer. I don't know, some kind of thing that they would braid, okay, that was woven, some kind of maybe, ponytail, I don't know, something that, right, that women would put in their hair, I guess to wrap their hair, and it was woven. And the thing is that if it's woven, it doesn't kind of stick very tightly to the hair. So kind of by definition, water will be able to get between this tiche chalilta and the hair, so it wouldn't be a chatzitza, okay? So, tiche chalilta mai. So Amarle, so Rav said to Rav Kahana, Arig ka'amart, look, you're asking me about something that's woven. Kol shu arig lo gazu. And anything that's woven, the Chacham did not make a gzera, and they said that a woman would be allowed to go out to Rosh Hashanah wearing this woven thing, because even if she would have to go to the mikveh, it wouldn't be a chatzitza. Idmar Nami, it was also stated, Amar Rav Huna Breder of Yoshua, Kol shu arig lo gazru. That Rav Huna Breder of Yoshua said that anything that is woven, there is no gezerah about. Fine. V'ikad Amri, now there are those who say, Amr Rav Huna Breder of Yoshua, Chazina la'achvasai lo kapdon alayu. So there are those who say that actually what Rav Huna Breder of Yoshua said is that he saw that his sisters, when they would bathe in hot water, they would leave in these woven tiche chaliltas, right? So we have 2 versions of Rav Huna Breder of Yoshua. One of them is that, just like Rav, anything that's woven, so it's no problem to go out to Rosh Hashanah. The other version is that he saw that his sisters weren't makbid to remove these tiche chaliltas, or these woven things that they had in their hair, and therefore it's no problem to go out with them on Shabbos because you don't have to be concerned about a chatzitza in the mikvah. So now, ma'ika ben hachlishna uven hachlishna. So what's the nafkamina between the 2 versions of Rav Huna Breder of Yoshua? Ikebenayu de tanifan. The nafkamina is, what if these woven items that they put in their hair were dirty? What if they were dirty? So la'achlishna de amart koshu areg lo gazu haninami arug. So, well, if you say that the reason why you're allowed to go out with these tiche chaliltas are because they're woven, well, even if they're dirty, they're still woven, so you should be allowed to go out with them nonetheless. However, if you go based on the version which is that Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua said that his sisters weren't makpid, they weren't particular about having leaving these woven things in their hair. Well, Kevin de Tanifan mikapid kapta alayu. Well, in this case, since they're dirty, well then his sisters would not, we can assume that his sisters then would or may not have gone to bathed with these things in their hair because they're dirty, and then the dirt will get on them. So according to that one, if you had this tichei chalilta that was dirty, then maybe you should not be able to go out on Shabbos because we have to be concerned that you will remove it and carry it. So that's an afkamina between the two versions. Okay. It's not awesome. We learn over there in mikvos, okay, that the following things make a chatzitza on a person, i.e., a person should not be wearing these things when going into the mikvah because, the water has to get everywhere on the body, and these things would be making some kind of a blockage, preventing water from getting on your body. So, chutei tzemer v'chutei pishtan v'artzuos shebrashe abanos. So, threads of wool, threads of linen, and other kinds of straps, all of which we are talking about when they are on the head of girls. And what does Rashi say? Yeah, so Rashi says, Habanos, like 7 lines from the bottom of Rashi, Kitanos of Orcha demil senakat. Meaning, he mentions girls, but it really, the same would apply to boys as well. Meaning, with the point being that if you have something tied in your hair, it would be a chatzitza. So Rabbi Yehuda Omer shel tzemer v'shel se'ar ein chotzitzin. Rabbi Yehuda says, look, if this thread that you're tying in your hair is made out of wool, or if it's made out of hair, okay, if the thread is made out of hair, well then it won't make a chatzitza, mipnei shamayim bayin bayin, because the water would be able to, they're not super tight, I guess, and the water would be able to get through these threads made out of wool or made out of hair. Okay, fine. Rav Huna said, Rav Huna, v'chulen baroshe abanos shaninu, and Rav Huna says that all of these threads, the wool, the linen, the threads made out of hair, these are specifically talking about when they are tied in a girl's hair. So the Gemara asks, so Maskefla Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef asks, Limute mai, when Rav Huna is coming to say that these threads specifically make a chatzitza when they are tied in a girl's hair, to exclude what? Meaning that implies that if these threads were tied somewhere else, then it would not be a chatzitza. So what are we talking about? Ilema limute de tzavar. So if you want to say, yeah, what it means is that if, let's say, this woolen thread is tied in a girl's hair, it would be a chatzitza. However, if it was around her neck, then it would not be a chatzitza. Okay, udamai. But then what kind of thread are we talking about? So if we're saying a woolen thread, that a woolen thread, if it's in her hair, it's a chatzitza. If it's around her neck, then it's not a chatzitza. Well, hashta rachal gabi kasher chotzitz, rachal gabi rachmi ba'ya. Well, if when you have this soft woolen thread and it's wrapped around her hair, which we're considering hard, at least in this relative context, right? That if you're taking this soft woolen thread and you're wrapping it around this hair, which is considered here relatively hard, i.e. that it will not, be able to wrap around it really strongly, and yet we're saying it makes a chatzitza. Well then, when you take this woolen thread and wrap it around your neck, which is made out of flesh, which is made out of meat, which is soft, which you can tie it tightly around, well then certainly it should make a chatzitza, right? If it makes a chatzitza in your hair, which you can't tie around super tight, certainly then, if you would tie this thread around your neck, which you can theoretically tie tight, so it would be a chatzitza. So rather, it is coming to exclude these threads of linen, right? That if you take these threads of linen and we're saying that if you wrap it around your hair, it would be a chatzitza, but if you would wrap it around your neck, Rav Huna is saying that it wouldn't be a chatzitza. Well, again, hashta kasha agabi kasha chotzetz, kasha agabe rach mibaya. If you have this linen thread, which linen is stronger, is harder than wool, okay, beseder, and you're wrapping it around your hair, which again is relatively harder, and we're saying that it doesn't make a chatzitza. We're saying that it does make a chatzitza, and that wouldn't really tie around very tight. Well, then certainly when you would take this linen thread and you would wrap it around your neck, which is soft and it can tie better and be tighter, certainly then it would be a chatzitza. No. So, Rav Huna, what's pshat? Okay? Rav Huna, you're saying that that these threads, these wool threads, these linen threads are only a chatzitza when it's in the hair. To say what? That somewhere else that it wouldn't be a chatzitza? Where? Like on the neck? Well, if it's a chatzitza on the hair, certainly it would be a chatzitza on the neck. So Rav Yosef answers, this is pshat with Rav Huna. And maybe people were thinking this already for the past few minutes as we've been learning this, but you know why Rav Yosef says that around the neck it wouldn't be a chatzitza? Because women are not going to be interested in choking themselves, in strangling themselves. And therefore, while on her hair, these threads would be considered a chatzitza, but on the neck, you can be sure that she's not going to strangle herself, and she's going to have this thread loose, and therefore water will be able to get in, and it will not be a chatzitza. Okay. Eis ve'abai. So Abai asks a kasha. Habanus yotzos b'chutin shebeoznein, aval lo b'chabokin shebetzavarein. Ha. So Abai asks a kasha in Yosef that we have a brayso that says that these girls can go out with threads that are in their ears. Apparently, I saw this somewhere. I don't know, somewhere. I don't know, the art school, the safari, I don't know. But that I guess they would pierce their ears at a younger age and then put like threads in their ear so that the hole wouldn't close. All right, I don't know how they know this. Like, how do they know that was the way that they would necessarily like pierce their ears when they were younger and then just kind of not wear earrings for a while? Maybe this, I don't know. But whatever it is, we're talking about if somebody pierced their ears and then put a thread in the hole. So we're saying that these girls shouldn't go out with the abanos yotzos. That they are allowed to go out with these threads in their ears, in the hole that was pierced. However, not with these threads around their necks. Now, and so Abai asks of Yosef, he says, if you're saying that women aren't going to want to strangle themselves, well then, why can't these girls go out with these threads around their necks? They're not going to strangle themselves. You don't have to be concerned about it being like, about them like having to take them off to go to the mikvah. So Ravina said, Hacha bekatla askinan. Here we're talking about a katla. And this katla is an interesting thing. Apparently it was some kind of bib. Like mamish, like some kind of bib. I guess that was like, that was accepted, that women would like wear these bibs so that like if, when they're eating, like food shouldn't get on their clothes, like mamish, like a bib. I guess that was like, they would do that back then. And anyways, the isha chonekes esatzma denichala shetera kebailas basar, which is also interesting. So I guess that not only would these women wear a bib, they would also make the bib really tight so that it could look like they have like a double chin, because that was in. Alright, I guess we're learning interesting things about culture like 2,000 years ago. Well, if we find our little time machine things and we can go back 2,000 years, we will be prepared. Make sure you bring a bib. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shel tzemer v'shel seyar, ein chotetzim pnei shamayim boin boin. Oh, so Rabbi Yehuda disagreed with the Tanakama, and he said that, so with the Tanakama said that you're not, that right back in this Mishnah from Mikvos, so the Tanakama had said that threads made out of wool would make a chatzitza. Now the Tanakama did not say anything about threads made out of hair. Rabbi Yehuda then says that threads made out of wool, as well as threads made out of hair, would not be a chatzitza, since water would be able to get inside, and therefore wouldn't be a chatzitza. So, Amar of Yosef, Amar of Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda b'chutei seir. So, Rav Yosef said in the name of his teacher, Rav Yehuda, who said in the name of his teacher, Shmuel, that halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda when it comes to threads made out of hair. So now the Gemara asks, Amalei Abaye. So Abaye said to his Rebbe, Rav Yosef, so again, 4 generations here. We have Abaye asking a question on Rav Yosef, who quoted his Rebbe, Rav Yehuda, who quoted his Rebbe, Shmuel. So now Abaye asks Rav Yosef, halacha michlal de plige. Now this is a thing that comes up every so often in the Gemara, right? Meaning, so they said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. The fact that we're saying that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda implies that there was actually a machlokas, right? It implies that the Chachamim said, right, the Tanna Kama said that threads made out of hair would be a chatzitza. Rabbi Yehuda is saying that threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza. And comes Shmuel to tell us that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. However, the fact of the matter is, the Tanna Kama in this Mishnah in Mikvahos did not say anything about threads made out of hair. Only Rabbi Yehuda said that threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza. But nobody, Tanna Kama, there's no machlokes. We didn't see any machlokes about threads made out of hair. All we saw is that Rabbi Yehuda said that threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza. So, right, halacha michlal de plige. So Abaye says, Nu Rav Yosef, from the fact that you're quoting Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, well, does that imply that there's actually a machlokes, there's actually an argument about whether or not threads made out of hair would make a chatzitza? V'chitema, so maybe you'll try to answer my question by saying, well, of course it's a machlokes. Ilav d'shame mitana kama da'ari b'chutei seyar iunami lo hava mayre. And if you're going to try to answer me, says Abaye, by saying, well, obviously it's a machlokes, because if it wasn't a machlokes, why in the world would Rabbi Yehuda be saying that threads made out of hair do not make a chatzitza? If nobody said anything about threads made out of hair, the fact that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that threads made out of hair do not make a chatzitza must imply that the Tanna Kama holds that threads made out of hair do make a chatzitza, to which Rabbi Yehuda's responding and arguing, no, they don't. But vidilma, but maybe, kishem ka'amar lehu. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda's argument is not, I disagree with you regarding threads made out of hair. Maybe the argument is kishem. So the Gemara explains what that means, right? Which means ki heichi demodisuli b'chutei seyar odu linami b'chutei tzemer. Meaning, maybe Rabbi Yehuda's argument is that actually, Chachamim, you agree with me regarding threads made out of hair, that there's not chatzitza. So maybe he's saying kashem. Maybe he's saying that just like you agree with me that threads made out of hair are not a chatzitza, well then agree with me also that threads made out of wool are not a chatzitza. Meaning, there's no compelling argument to say that the Tanna Kama disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda and that the Tanna Kama holds that threads made out of hair would make a chatzitza. So if we have no, definite, if we don't know for sure that there is an argument between the Tanna Kama and Rabbi Yehuda, then why is Shmuel coming to say that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda? It could very well be that the Tanna Kama and Rabbi Yehuda agree that threads made out of hair do not make a chatzitza. So the Gemara answers, you know what? Itmar, Amar of Nachman, Amar Shmuel, Modim Chachamim, Rabbi Yehuda b'chutei seyar. No, so rather, we have a statement where Rav Nachman says in the name of Shmuel. Remember, right? We had Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav Yosef in the name of Shmuel. So now we have a different statement where Rav Nachman, who was also a student of Shmuel, was saying in the name of Shmuel that Modim Chachamim Rabbi Yehuda b'chutei seyar. That the Chachamim agree with Rabbi Yehuda with regard to threads made out of hair, that they would not be a chatzitza. And therefore, we can read back into the statement of Rav Yosef in the name of Rav Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, that he wasn't saying that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, which would imply that there's a machlokas. Rather, no, modim the Rabbi Yehuda, that the Chacham agree with Rabbi Yehuda that threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza. Okay, well that's settled. Tani Nami Hachi. We also learn in a brisa like this. Chutei tzemer chotzitzin, chutei seyar ein chotzitzin. We have a brisa in which the Tanakama says that threads made out of wool would be a chatzitza. However, threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza. Rabbi Yehuda Omer shel tzemer v'shel seyar ein chotzitzin. And Rabbi Yehuda says, no, that both wool and hair do not make a chatzitza, but they both agree with regarding hair that it would not be a chatzitza. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, said Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, masnisin na mideka. You can actually even infer from Mishnayos that the opinion of the Chachamim is that hair would not be a chatzitza. Threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza. The katani, as we're going to learn in a Mishnah on the Samach Daled Amud Beis, Yotza Isha bechutei seyar bein mishala bein mishal chaverta, that a woman is allowed to go out to Rosh Hashanah on Shabbos with threads in her hair that are made out of hair, right? Threads made out of hair, whether they're threads belonging to her or whether they're threads belonging to her friend. Okay? Now, money. Who's the author of that Mishnah? Ilema Rabbi Yehuda. If we're going to say that Rabbi Yehuda is the author of that Mishnah saying that women can go out with these threads made out of hair, well, afilu chutei tzemer nami. Well, then you may as well just say the bigger chiddush, which is that even threads made out of wool, a woman can go out to Rosh Hashanah with. Why are you just saying, and if you can go out with threads made out of wool, then certainly you can go out with threads made out of hair. So elalav rabbanani ushmamina b'chutei seir lo plige shmamina. Rather, the author of that Mishnah must be the rabbis, must be the Rabbanan, and we're seeing that even the Rabbanan admit to Rabbi Yehuda, agree with Rabbi Yehuda, that you can go out to Rosh Hashanah with threads made out of hair because they do not make a chatzitza. So the Mishnah goes on and says, lo b'totefes, right? So the Mishnah had said, we're going to learn in a second, we're going to define what these totefes things are. But the Mishnah had said that a woman would be allowed to go out to Rosh Hashanah with a totefes as long as it is tied, as long as it is sewed in. We're going to explain what what we're talking about. So my totefes, what is a totefes? Amr of Yosef, chomarta de katifta. Okay, so it is some kind of knot that they would make for healing. I don't know, so that's what it was. Okay, so Yosef says some kind of knot that had some kind of healing value, and you would wear it and you would get healed. Alright. Amalei Abaye, so now Abaye says to Yosef, V'tahavi k'kmiya mumche v'tishtri. Abaye says, well, if it's some kind of hocus pocus thing, you wear this knot and you get healed, well then it should be just like an amulet that we already experienced, we learned it a few days ago, and it's going to be a Mishnah coming up, I think maybe also on Samach Daled, but coming up, that an amulet, as long as it's been proven to work, you would be allowed to go to Rosh Hashanah with it. So why can't this very fancy healing knot, why can't you go out with that to Rosh Hashanah? So Ella, Omar Mar Yehuda Mishmei de Abaye. So rather, Mar Yehuda says the name of Abaye. Now, the text of the Gemara says Rav Yehuda in the name of Abaye. The thing is, Rav Yehuda was 2 generations earlier than Abaye, so it couldn't have been Rav Yehuda saying in the name of Abaye. So that is why there's a note that changed it to Mar Yehuda. I don't know who Mar Yehuda is, but Mar Yehuda says in the name of Abaye, Aposiano. It's some kind of like a tzitz that the Kohen Gadol would wear, right? It's basically some kind of jewelry that would go from one ear to the other ear across the forehead. Some kind of jewelry that would cover the forehead. And what they would do is they would take this jewelry and they would like sew it. They would have some kind of, I don't know, hairnet or something. I don't know. I don't really know all of these. I don't know all of these garments, but I guess a hairnet, is that like a thing that people with longer hair wear, like hairnets? Maybe more women than men? Whatevs. Basically, there was like these hairnets, and they would wear these hairnets, and tied into and then they would take these like forehead covering jewelry items and tie them into these hairnets. Okay, so we're saying that if these jewelry are tied into the hairnet, so then you can go out with it, because we're not concerned that you're going to take it off to show somebody. So that's what we're talking about. Tani Nami Hachi, we also learn in a brayso like this. Yotza isha bisvacha hamuzheves. Okay, a woman is allowed to go out to Rosh Hashanah with this like golden hairnet. Sounds pretty fancy. Uvtotefes, and with this jewelry that goes across her forehead from one ear to the other. Uvsarvitin akvuin ba, and with sarvitin that are, right, so as long as the totefes and the sarvitin are sewed into, somehow attached to this hairnet. Now, ezo totefes, what is totefes? Ve'ezo sarvitin, and what's sarvitin? Amar Rabbi Abau, totefes amukefes la me'ozen la'ozen. So totefes is this item that goes from one ear to the other ear across the forehead. Sarvitin amagin la ad lechaya. So sarvitin is some kind of jewelry that goes down to her cheek. Alright? Very cool. Maybe like around the eyes into the cheek. That sounds pretty cool. So, now, when does lechi mean jaw and when does lechi mean cheek? I don't know. Maybe it's all considered like part of like the same kind of bone structure. Okay, but over here I think it means cheek. Amar Funa, anios osan osan shalmine tziv'onin, ashiros osan osan shal kesef shal zav. So Ravuna said that poor women would make these jewelry items out of different kind of colored cloths, fabrics, and wealthy women would make these jewelry items out of gold and silver. Okay, cool. You got that? Totefes goes like across your forehead from ear to ear, and sarvitin kind of somehow goes down to your cheek. Okay. Weiter. V'lo b'kavul, and not with a kavul. What did we say? That kavul, you can't go to Rishus Harabim, right? Yeah, you can't go with a kavul to Rishus Harabim, but you can wear it in a Rishus Yachid. You can wear it in your chatzar. Okay. Nu. Amar Rabbi Yanai, kavul zeh eni odeh ma'u. That's pretty cool. So it says Rabbi Yanai, he says, look, I don't know what the heck a kavul is. Which is cool, right? Like, he had these mishnayos, like, we're learning these mishnayos, and we're like, what the heck is a kavul? Well, guess what? Rabbi Yanai was also learning mishnayos, and he's like, what the heck is a kavul? Okay? So, I guess it's always been like a thing. Like, you learn a mishnah, and you're like, alright, what is this talking about? So, I kavla de avda tnan, aval kipa shel tzemer shapir dami, o dilma kipa shel tzemer tnan. Okay, so Rabbi Yanai said that he doesn't know what this kavul is. He doesn't know if it's a kavla de avda. So apparently, like slaves would have to go out with some kind of like badge or some kind of like article attached to their clothes to indicate that they were a slave. That sounds pretty nasty, right? Especially after Yom HaShoah. But yeah, I don't know, it just seems like weird vibes. Alright, whatever. But I guess slaves would go out with some kind of thing attached to their clothes to indicate that they're a slave. Now, as you can imagine, we were concerned that maybe they would take that off and carry it 4 amos in Rosh Hashanah. I guess I don't blame them. So Rabbi Yanai wants to know is this kavul that we say not to go out with Rosh Hashanah into Rosh Hashanah with it? So is it this like patch that these slaves would wear on their clothing, and we're concerned that they might take it off and carry it 4 amos in Rosh Hashanah? Aval kipa shel tzemer shapir dami. However, if they would, so we talked about these hairnets that they would wear. So apparently under the hairnet, they would put some kind of, woolen cloth. So we're saying, if we're saying that don't go out to Rosh Hashanah with a kavul, because that would be more enticing or easier to remove and carry it 4 amos in Rosh Hashanah. However, this thing that's under their hairnets, they wouldn't take out, because then they would like be uncovering their hair, and it was, it was like a little bit of a mess. So you would be able to go out with that. Or dilma kipa shel tzemer tnan. Or maybe, no, what it's saying is that this kavul is actually this wool that they would put under the hairnet, and we're saying not to go out with that, because I guess theoretically you can remove it and still keep your hair covered. And if that, which I guess is more complicated to take out, or there would be less of a reason to take it out, you wouldn't be allowed to go in Rosh Hashanah. Certainly you would not be allowed to go out to Rosh Hashanah with this badge for the slaves. So, Amar Rabbi Abau, said Rabbi Abau, Mistavra Kmanda Amar Kipa Shel Tzemer Tnan. So Rabbi Abau says, look, it makes sense to say that a kavul is this cloth that they would wear under the hairnet. And we're saying not to go out to Rosh Hashanah with that. And certainly not to go out to Rosh Hashanah with the slave badge. V'tani Nami Achim, we also learn in a brayso, Yotza Isha B'kavul, a woman is permitted to go out to so with this kavul uve istima lechatzer, she's allowed to go out, however, only to her chatzer. She's not allowed to go to her Rishus Harabim wearing this kavul as well as an istima. Okay, we don't know what these things are yet. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Omer says Reb Shimon ben Elazar, af b'kavul l'Rishus Harabim. And Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, look, you can even go out with a kavul to Rishus Harabim. Okay, and we still don't know what a kavul is in this mission, in this brisa. Now, however, Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, Klal Amar Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Kol Shilamata min Ashvacha Yotzin Bo. Now then Reb Shimon ben Elazar says, look, the general rule is that anything that is under this hairnet, you would be allowed to go out to Rishus Harabim with, and that seems to be his explanation for why you would be allowed to go to Rishus Harabim wearing this kavul, which implies that a kavul is something that you put under your hairnet. So that would be a support for Rabbi Abahu, who says that a kavul is something that you put under your hairnet, and then certainly you wouldn't be allowed to go out with this like slave patch. Kol shulayim min hashvacha ein yotzin bo. And anything that is above this hairnet, then you would not go out with it to Rishus Harabim, because I guess you'd be concerned that you might take it off. And then carry it 4 amos. My istima, okay, fine. So kavul is this thing under the hairnet. What's an istima? Rabbi Abahu bizyone. So Rabbi Abahu says, Lamaisa, it's a bizyone. My bizyone. What's a bizyone? Abai, Rav, kalya paruche. So Abai says, name Rav, it's some kind of felt material that they would use to, like, I guess after they would put on the hairnet, there might be some hairs, like stray hairs, like sticking out. So then you would take this like felt kind of thing to cover up those stray hairs. So that's what it is. Don't go out to Rishus Harabim with that. Alright. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Gimel Dvarim nemu be'istima. There are 3 things that are said about an istima. Ein ba mishum kilayim. You don't have to worry about kilayim. You don't have to worry about mixing different fabrics together, because this is, for kilayim, Rashi says, it would have to be a thread that's like woven or spun. And this is just like felt, which isn't, I guess, woven or spun, and therefore kilayim wouldn't be an issue. Then matam ben negayim, and for the same reason, it's also not matam ben negayim, right? We talked about tumas negayim by the 3 etzbos stuff, right? Said that, right, that you can get saras on your clothing. So this istima would not be relevant for saras of the clothing, because also it is not spun or woven. And you may not go out with it to Rishus Harabim, as we have just learned. Mishum Reb Shimon Amru, they said the name Reb Shimon, Af ein ba mishum ataros kalos, that the Gemara in Sota, Rashi points out, says that after the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, so brides would not wear these like crowns that I guess they once wore, but if the crown is made out of this felt material, so then it would be acceptable, they would be allowed to wear it. Well, friends, that was daf Nun Zayin of Masechta Shabbos, the first daf of the 6th perek of Masechta Shabbos, Bameh Isha Yotza. So we can go over a few items. So we talked about, not to wear wool and linen threads in your hair on Shabbos. And we said that that's because if a woman is going to end up having to go to the mikvah, well, they would be a chatzitza in the mikvah, and she would have to loosen them. She might end up carrying them in Rishus Harabim. Okay, right. And then Rav Kahana asked Rav about these like woven kind of things that girls would put in their hair. So Rav said, look, if it's woven, then it's allowed. There's no issue with going out to Rishus Harabim with woven things in your hair. Rav Huna Breder Rav Yoshua gave 2 reasons. One of them, like Rav, that it's woven. However, the other one was that he reported that his sisters, when they would bathe, they would keep these woven things in their hair. Okay, what's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is if this woven thing would get dirty. So then, Mistama, his sisters would not have bathed with these woven things in their hair if these woven things were dirty, because then the dirt would get all over them. So based on that, if it's based on his sisters, so then if you have this woven dirty thing, you shouldn't be able to go out to Rishus Harabim with it. But according to the reason that, look, anything that's woven, you may go out with Rishus Harabim with, well, who cares if it's dirty? It's still woven. You may go out to Rishus Harabim. Fine, we talked about like wool and linen making a chatzitza. Then Rav Huna said that's only if it is in your hair. And then we said, implying what? Like if these threads were around your neck, it would be acceptable, right? If around your hair, it makes a chatzitza. Certainly around your neck, which the flesh is softer, it would make a chatzitza. To which I think it was Abaye explained to Rav Yosef explained to Rav Huna as saying, yeah, but nobody wants to choke themselves. So therefore, you can assume that it will be loose around the neck and it won't make a chatzitza. Fine. And then we had that thing where Rabbi Yehuda says that threads made out of hair would not make a chatzitza. And then, like Shmuel said that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. We said, well, does that imply that there's a machlokas? We ended up saying, no, the Chachamim agree with Rabbi Yehuda that the threads made out of hair would not be a chatzitza, and therefore you can go out with them to Rosh Hashanah. We talked about the totefes, which is this jewelry that would go across your forehead from one ear to the next. We also talked about this. Oh, I'm on the wrong daf. We also talked about this kavul, which is like some kind of thing that you put under your hairnet. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Yeah, like I know it's hard to review this, but I hope that was helpful. And anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed the daf today, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.